All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. So just a quick overview video, modification I made to my 2015 F150 that has the 2.7 liter Ecoboost engine. So I'm installing a DIY inexpensive dual catch can system for the both the PCV side and the boost side. So there's various kits out there ranging anywhere, you know, $500 and up. I was able to do this whole setup very cheap, and I'll put links in the description to all the parts I used. So the main thing is using this 5/8 inch heater hose. Basically, I was able to take the factory PCV line that runs, you can see it runs from there to there. Okay, so from the intake to there. Basically, this was the one that's under suction. And what happens is it sucks a ton of oil out of the top of the valve cover and directly into the intake. And that oil gets burned through combustion. And it also leaves a coating of oil and soot that turns to carbon on the back of your valves, which leads to a whole bunch of problems with this engine. So any direct injection engine is subject to carbon deposits on the intake valves, but it makes it even worse on a boosted application like this, where you have high crankcase pressures. So this is a must-do modification. If you only want to do one, do this side of the engine. It's very simple. I took this kit, which I bought on Amazon, and you can see these are the brackets that came with the kit. I just kind of rigged them up and screwed them to the battery box. And this is kind of a good place for this. So for this side of the engine, I should say the other side, basically what I did is this is the factory hose that comes out and it plugs on to the boost pipe over here. So what I did is I took apart the factory hose, and this is a sensor right here that senses that there's pressure in the line. And then I just pulled it apart, and the little section that connected over here, kind of pulled that apart. And then I just put in line the hose that runs under the intake tube over here and over to the other side over there. Here's another shot of that, so you can see where the hose comes out. That did connect right here with a short piece of line. Now this plastic line from the factory, if you just heat it up a little bit, it will pull apart. I used just some hose clamps and the heater hose. Now this side is really kind of only under boost, and it doesn't really get a lot of oil in it. I've got just a little bit of oil on this side, so the hose is fine as is. Over here on this side, which is the suction side, same thing. There was this little plastic line. I just pulled the fittings out of the plastic line and used hose clamps. Okay, so the problem I'm having on this side is, since it's under such high pressure vacuum, it will suck this hose closed once the engine heats up and this hose gets nice and hot. So what I did to combat this is I'm taking this 1/2 inch PEX tubing and I'm sticking it inside of the hose, and that's making this kind of rigid. And when we heat the PEX up, I'll be able to bend it a little bit, so to get it in the form that I need. And again, just took those fittings. You'll see when you go to make this modification. Took those fittings off, kind of adapted it to fit the 5/8 inch heater hose. The hose that comes with the kit is junk. You won't be able to use it. You need to buy, I had some bulk 5/8 heater hose. If you could find something that's a little more rigid, that won't suck down under pressure, you probably wouldn't have to add the PEX to it like that. I just want something that's going to work real good, make sure It doesn't close off this line. I meant to get footage while I was actually doing this project, but I accidentally lost it. So I thought I'd give a little overview of basically how it's put together. If you have a little bit of ingenuity, you can obviously figure this out. Nice thing about these catch cans, they seem to be well made. They're machined aluminum, and they have these little dipsticks with O-rings so you can check the oil level. I found that, as I said, this one, which is the Boost side, really never has hardly but a trace of oil in it. But this PCV side is full of all kinds of stuff. It's not just oil, it's almost like a oil, gas, just water, vapor mixture. Whatever's floating around, it's getting burnt off in the engine. I definitely don't want that getting burnt in the combustion process. So this is, like I said, an important upgrade. All right, so here's what this side looks like all plumbed up. So got that top line from the intake running up, and it comes to this side of the catch can. Then we have this one right here, which is actually the inlet, which is coming from the crankcase. Make sure everything's tightened down. I put some of this plastic tubing over the hoses just because when I put the cover back on here, that's like basically right where the hose comes out, just to keep it from wearing through the rubber. Now we'll just start it up and see how it works. Make sure you don't hear any leaks. But as I said, I've already had this system running for about 5,000 miles, about 6 months, and I've had zero issues at all, except that it catches a bunch of oil and other crap, which is what it's supposed to do. So again, there'll be links in the description to all the parts that I used for this project. Again, this is a really easy way, really cheap and easy way to add a dual catch can system to your F-150, and this works for the 3.5 and the 2.7. This might be slightly different hose routing, but you get the general idea.